There's a systemic vulnerability in performative digital food history that I call the filming trap. It happens when a creator spends days planning, lighting, and filming the recreation of an obscure 19th century recipe. They commit entirely to a spectacular premise, like claiming that William Kitchiner's 1817 cookbook proves the potato chip isn't actually an American invention. But when the cameras start rolling and they actually fry that historical quarter-inch potato slab, the physical evidence, the cooking result, fails them. They don't get a delicate, crispy snack. They get an overcooked, bitter potato brick. The mistake relies entirely on a superficial reading of the source material. In the Cook's Oracle, Kitchiner tells the reader to fry these thick slices until they're crisp. To a modern viewer holding a bag of commercial snack chips, the word crisp implies a completely dehydrated, uniform snap. But a food historian can't read the language of the past in a vacuum. If you simply look at the very next entry, Recipe 101 for potatoes fried whole, Kitchiner uses the exact same terminology. He instructs the cook to fry whole potatoes until they're brown and crisp. Physically, you just can't fry a whole potato until it's brittle to its core without turning it into charcoal. The conclusion is simple. In 1817, the word crisp simply meant achieving a crackly, toasted outer crust on a food that remains soft, fluffy, and hot on the inside. Recipe 100 wasn't an ancestral potato chip. It was a standard cottage fry, or simply a fried potato slice. Now, to be completely fair to the presenter, I'm assuming this was a conscious choice born of the filming trap. I'm actively giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm assuming that as a professional cook, they looked at that dark, dense potato brick, recognized it as a complete failure, but simply chose to push forward with the illusion anyway because the cameras were rolling. The true historical breakthrough that created the potato chip wasn't the mere act of throwing starch into fat. That's an absurd notion. It was the deliberate transition to paper-thin slicing, a method meant to specifically eliminate the soft interior of the potato entirely. This is why the traditional, commonly accepted history of the potato chip remains intact. Now, the famous legend of George Crumb at the Moon's Lake House in Saratoga Springs in 1853, angrily slicing potatoes paper-thin to spite a picky customer, that may carry some mythical, romanticized folklore, but the geography is correct. The potato chip was never an overcooked cottage fry. It was a radical, localized American innovation that treated the potato not as a hearty meal component, but as a completely dehydrated, salted, and uniform snack food. Slicing a potato so thinly and frying it until crispy and crunchy would have been deemed improper by 19th century cooks. They would have considered it ruining the potato. When we use cooking as a performative spectacle to rewrite the food history timeline for the sake of a clean digital script, our history becomes just as unpalatable as an 1817 tooth-breaking potato brick.